Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble. She's the director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome back to the show, Sharon.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Sharon, you're concerned that Vancouver plans to become one of the most Wi-Fi'd cities in the world. Does that really fit along with their green program?
Not that I can tell. In fact, it's not that they're going to be. They're bragging in their Chamber of Commerce type information that's going out to the tourists that Vancouver is one of the most Wi-Fi'd cities in North America, claiming there are 755 hotspots. And I don't know what part of Vancouver, but from the map it looks like that's mostly downtown. That's a horrendous number, which means that people who are working or spending great amount of time downtown and among this electrosmog are being exposed daily to very high levels of radiation. And this is something that people need to be concerned about in the future, because as microcells are implemented and begin working with 4G and 5G, this will only increase. I frankly don't think that this is a bragging point. Vancouver certainly shouldn't be able to call itself a green city if it's doing this.
Well, aren't there plans to make all transit hotspots as well?
Yes, I think they already have to a large degree. I've received information from some people saying that they can't travel on a lot of the trams and the buses and things. And when you add that to people carrying, all the cell phones and their iPads and everything, it makes traveling very, very dangerous, and it also makes it very uncomfortable, virtually impossible for people who have any sensitivity. And as well, people with medical devices like pacemakers or deep brain implants have to be very concerned, because this sort of pollution, these signals that are being emitted, can cause them problems, can cause them to malfunction.
Have people died or been made seriously ill because their medical devices have been interfered with?
I don't know if anyone has died. I suspect there have been instances, but I do know from personal experiences that some people have become ill. We had a very good friend who used to come up to our house, and after he got a pacemaker, he was unable to come up to our house because of the cell transmitters that are across the street from us. His pacemaker would start malfunctioning, and he was having difficulty getting his breath. This is something that's been proven. And when you look, for instance, going through a library with their anti-theft devices at the door, they warn people with pacemakers not to go through it. And at airports, they advise people with any medical implants not to go through the machines. There is an effect. Wireless devices communicate with other wireless devices. And your pacemaker, for instance, is an electrical device that can be activated or deactivated or just affected by things like smart meters and cell phones.
Well, I find it ironic that when you go into Burnaby General Hospital, for example, they have signs saying, please turn off your cell phones because they can interfere with medical devices. And yet on top of the hospital, there's a huge array of cell phone towers.
Also, more and more hospitals have Wi-Fi. On the Vancouver Island, health authorities' website, they brag that the hospitals are providing Wi-Fi for guests. What about the patients? Many of our people, many of the members here, have complained to VHA about putting Wi-Fi in hospitals. The patients don't need it. They can be, and if they want internet access, it can be wired. And certainly guests that are going to go visit patients don't need to be sitting there with their iPads the whole time they're visiting them. This is something that people are not aware of. But yes, Jim, it's very ironic. And it's something that the telecom companies have zeroed in on. Years ago, I read an article by one telecom company, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which, that was sent off to its members or counterparts or companies across the country that said to identify those places that needed money as being likely sites for their cell towers. And they said hospitals, schools, churches, senior citizens' homes were likely places where they needed money and would be agreeable, therefore, to be paid to put a cell tower on their building or on their property. These are the places where the most vulnerable people are spending a great deal of time. People who are sick, young people. It's just crazy. But they have deliberately zeroed in on these properties.
Are you satisfied that the provincial and federal government are doing a good job of protecting us from this flood of Wi-Fi radiation?
No, not at all. Over the last few years, I've complained to you often and told your audience about the number of letters that people in the coalition have written to the provincial health officers, for example. Dr. Perry Kendall, when he was in the position, and now Dr. Bonnie Henry, asking them to please at least warn parents and teachers about the problems, the dangers of putting Wi-Fi in schools. We've never received a satisfactory response from any of them. In fact, the responses we get are ludicrous, filled with dissembling statements that are untrue. For instance, Bonnie Henry's office will reply and say the same thing that Perry Kendall said for 10 years before her. There's no evidence of harm. That's not true. There are thousands of studies showing harm. We've asked, why are there Wi-Fi modems in every schoolroom when there is fiber optic cable that is there already and will provide safer, more efficient, and more secure access to the Internet? And they've never responded. And what is especially confusing, Jim, is the hue and cry that is justifiably raised about the number of children with measles and whooping cough and other diseases that could be prevented by vaccines and people questioning the safety of vaccines. I have yet to see an article from the Provincial Health Office asking or informing or telling people information about the dangers of electromagnetic radiation from wireless devices. Children are using cell phones and iPads from the time they're infants, and they're being exposed to this throughout their life while they're in schools. Men are holding cell phones in their pockets, and sterility is occurring. Sperm is being deformed and defective, and science is showing that there is a direct relationship between deformed sperm and autism, for example. Why isn't the provincial office addressing these issues at all? They aren't. They are totally silent on it. And on their websites, they're misinforming people with statements such as, there's no evidence of harm. That's equivalent to saying they're safe. And that is bogus. And it's just infuriating that they aren't doing more, that they aren't doing anything to inform people about the studies that are out there.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after this.
I'm Douglas Mason, CEO of Naturally Splendid, symbol NSP on the TSX Venture Exchange. Naturally Splendid is a biotechnology and consumer products company focused on the global cannabis and health markets. Naturally Splendid is expanding distribution in this rapidly growing market with products currently in Canada, the USA, South Korea, Germany, and Australia. To view our comprehensive company presentation and for more information, please visit our website at naturallysplendid.com.
MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, is it true the city of Portland, Oregon is trying to fight the spread of 5G?
Yes, they are. And they're trying to do it through the FCC, which is the organization similar to Industry Canada. They're the ones who set the policies. They're the ones who use and allow people and corporations to hide behind what is equivalent to Safety Code 6. There are no guidelines for non-thermal radiation at all. There are no guidelines that address wireless radiation. Yet, just as in Canada, in the U.S., they will not allow local municipalities, councils, to argue that microwave radiation isn't safe. They will not allow people to say, we don't want a cell tower on our property because it's dangerous. They will not accept that argument. And so Portland is saying, we're concerned about the health issue, but we're going to argue on the fact that there are rights that have to be recognized, municipal rights to determine what is being done in their communities. They are very concerned about 5G, milliwave technology, that is still in the pilot stage, but is planned to be rolled out in the next couple of years across North America. They're very concerned about this, and there is a petition that, and a resolution that the city of Portland is presenting to address this. They want a moratorium until these can be proven to be safe. There's a resolution where they're requesting that the federal government look at the studies and try to determine if 5G fits into the federal guidelines. Of course, there aren't any guidelines, but that's the best that they can do. We should be doing something similar because there are absolutely no guidelines that pertain to 5G. These milliwaves are going to be extremely strong because they're going to be in transmitters that are just outside almost every home. They will be combined with 4G, which is the latest technology that has microwaves up to about the 2.4 gigahertz range. Some are a little bit higher, some are lower, but it's up in that range. The milliwaves will go up to multitudes higher. They will go up to 40, 50, 60, even higher gigahertz. And these are very, very short waves that have to be treated specially to get them to be able to permeate into our homes, to penetrate our homes. They are putting them into phased array transmitters, which forms a very, very strong beam. And these have been shown through studies that were done in Russia, for instance, in the 1970s, to cause serious damage even to major organs, such as the heart and the kidneys. And there are absolutely no studies that are being looked at by the industry. This was admitted in a congressional hearing headed by when Senator Blumenthal in the U.S. asked industry representatives if there were any ongoing studies showing that 5G was safe. And they had to admit, no, there aren't. So this is one more example of technology going rogue, being put out there, just as Wi-Fi and cell phones were put out there without any study showing they were safe. Now this is putting something that's thought to be even more dangerous, not only for humans, but for insects and for bees, because these short waves are more liable to affect insects because of their small bodies. So there are all sorts of reasons here, and the city of Portland has laid out a framework that I think we should be trying to follow here in Canada.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
Grand Portage Resources recently completed the 2018 drill program on its 100% controlled Herbert Gold Discovery property located in the prolific Juneau Belt in southeast Alaska. Drill results are expected through late 2018. Past drill results included numerous multi-ounce gold assays on multiple veins. Grand Portage trading symbols are GPG on the TSX Venture, GPTRF on the OTCQB, and GPB on Frankfurt. For more information, please visit our website, grandportage.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, Huawei is suing the U.S. because it wants to ban that particular company over security concerns. Does the U.S. have legitimate concerns about security when it comes to Huawei?
There are many concerns about Huawei. In a recent and a surprising article from the Globe and Mail, they mentioned the health issues that are concerned with microcell and milliwave radiation. But there's also a lot of discussion about the fact that Huawei has a history of working with the Chinese government and through the Chinese government to insert surveillance devices in wireless things like cell phones and Wi-Fi modems. Once the 5G gets out there and the technology is fully operational, the goal is to connect millions and billions of wireless devices through the Internet of Things. Once this happens, if there are surveillance devices in these wireless devices, these gadgets, and China does make many of them, many of the smart meters were made in China, many of the cell phones are made in China. We are very dependent, and Huawei is one of the most powerful corporations around. Once those surveillance chips are put into these devices, the data that is being gathered is completely vulnerable and would be available to China. And one of the concerns is that China has a history of surveying its own citizens. They have devised ways of being able to tell if they're crossing the street against the lights, if they are jaywalking, if they are chewing gum, if they are reading Internet things that are not appropriate according to the Chinese government. They are now rewarding and punishing their citizens for doing certain things. And this is one of the concerns. Huawei could have that capability, but here in the United States and Canada. But worse, once these surveillance devices are in our grid, there is a potential that Huawei or some other government, or some other government in China, could access control over the grid. The grid is very vulnerable. It is wireless, and there could be a cyber attack. There could be hacking. There could be control. One major article that was written last week by Epoch Times that warns a lot about new industry ideas, about cyber ideas, warned that this type of cyber attack is not just a thing to dream about or to have nightmares about. It is true. It has the full potential of bringing a grid down or of controlling certain parts of the grid, like the nuclear power plants or hospitals or the electricity that goes to homes. this is a major concern that is rampant out there, and no one seems to be paying a whole lot of attention to it. TELUS is still working with Huawei. Huawei is still putting its transmitters, into the microcells that are outside our home. They are still working with cell phones. If you go into Best Buy and other providers, other stores, you will see Huawei's name all over the place. And Huawei and other Chinese telecoms have a history of doing these things to their own people through their technology, and there's no reason to think that they wouldn't do it to us.
Sharon, you're also concerned about the new modems being rolled out by Shaw.
Yes. Shaw has announced a brand new exciting modem for its new Wi-Fi program, the 300 program. And when you read on further about it, it brags that there are 10 antennae in the modems. This is frightening. Modems are in people's homes, often in spots where they spend a lot of time, in offices, in living rooms, places where people can easily access them and where they think the Wi-Fi is the strongest. 10 antenna will be providing different frequencies, and they can commingle. They can cause all sorts of reactions biologically. One wireless modem is bad enough with one antenna. People should not go for this. People should be very, very careful and demand that their Wi-Fi be provided through cable. It is faster, it is safer, and it doesn't irradiate you. And these Wi-Fi modems with all these antennas are being touted. They're making it as a selling point for their newest Wi-Fi plans. And I hope that people will really, really look seriously at this before they agree to allow these in their homes.
Sharon, where can people go if they want to check further into these issues?
They can go to our website, which is www.stopsmartmetersbc.com. And most of the articles that I speak about are under newsletters. People can go in there and look at them.
Sharon, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure, as always, Jim.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. If you have any questions for Sharon or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.